Hi, this is Marlene and a warm welcome from Glasgow, Scotland to all around the world. In this series of Marlene and Friends, I'll be sharing with you the most amazing group of people who have all the skills and expertise to make our world one of health and peace for all who live here, humans and non-humans alike. My fantastic guest this week, the wonderful Joe Fuhrman, MD, a board-certified family doctor with over 25 years' experience in nutritional medicine. Through his medical practice, as well as his 6 New York Times best-selling books and his PBS television specials, Dr. Fuhrman has helped thousands of people lose weight permanently, reverse chronic diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, chronic pain syndromes including migraines, and he uses a nutrient-dense, plant-rich eating style that he calls the Nutritarian Diet. Dr. Fuhrman is the president of the Nutritional Research Foundation and is a frequent guest on the Dr. Oz show, for which he serves on the Medical Advisory Board. He's an internationally recognised expert on nutrition and natural healing, and Dr. Fuhrman is also a health and fitness enthusiast like myself, and his athletic background gives him a keen insight into the importance of diet and physical exercise. I just love and adore his work. Hi, I'm Marlene Watson-Tara in service for a healthy world. My guest today is the fantastic and fabulous, inspirational Dr. Joe Fuhrman, a highly respected family doctor, 6-time New York Times best-selling author, and to date has sold more than 3 million books. Dr. Fuhrman is an internationally recognised expert on nutrition and natural healing who specialises in preventing and reversing disease through nutritional methods. He coined the term Nutritarian to describe his eating style, and that is built around a diet of nutrient-dense, plant-rich foods. Dr. Fuhrman, a huge big warm welcome from Scotland. It's so wonderful to have you as my guest this week on Marlene and Friends.
Thank you. Great to talk to you today. I'm looking forward to it.
Wow, wonderful. Well, in your hundreds of radio and television appearances, including the Dr. Oz show, the Today Show, Good Morning America, which I've actually watched you on when I'm teaching in the States, you've educated millions of people on the long-range benefits of healthy eating. You have your own 4 hugely successful PBS television shows, and that's bringing essential nutritional knowledge to homes all across America. Now, in addition to your New York Times bestsellers, you've also written several other popular books on nutritional science, but in this interview in particular, I would like to specifically look at the Eat to Live cookbook and the core philosophy behind that concept, and also I want to discuss with you your most recent book, The End of Heart Disease. But for now, my first question to you is, as a board-certified family doctor, what inspired you to specialise in nutritional medicine?
Well, I was on the world figure skating team. In the 1970s, I was a pair skater with my sister. We were 3rd in the world in pairs figure skating.
Wow.
And my father was overweight and a little sickly. He started bringing nutrition books into the house, and he lost weight and got healthier again. And I started reading all the books to try to improve our stamina and our performance in skating and not getting sick. So I just became like a hobby of mine as a teenager in my early 20s to start to read nutritional books, watching my father improve his health. So after I left the skating world, I was working in my family's shoe stores in New York, and I decided it wasn't really my passion. My passion was really nutrition and keeping people healthy and getting people healthy. So I told my father to sell the stores and retire, and I'd go back to medical school. So I went back to the postgraduate pre-medical course at Columbia, and then I went to University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, specifically with the intention of pursuing a career in nutritional medicine, not to do, because I always knew, even when I was growing up, that drugs were toxic and they can't solve the healthcare crisis around the world. It's like people hit themselves with a hammer every day and cause, a cut and a wound, and they take some drugs to take away the pain, and every day they give themselves another smash with a hammer again. You can't heal the body with medications. You have to. The body is a miraculous self-healing machine when you supply it with the optimal fuel and nutrients to do its healing.
It's amazing. I mean, and you are the founding father of Nutritarian eating, which is a fantastic concept. And scientists I know around the world, many of them that I know actually, they have huge interest in your theory. Can you share with the world what that actually is? What does Nutritarian mean?
Well, Nutritarian names a diet style that's not designed based on a philosophy or an agenda or a bias, but what will be the way for a human to eat to maximize their lifespan, to wipe out cancers and heart disease, and to age slower and live as long as possible? Mm-hmm. And that means that we have to particularly look at a diet style that's rich in micronutrients, though especially phytochemicals and antioxidants, and considerably lower in calories. And we also have to make sure we comprehensively expose the human to all the nutrients humans need to maximize their health. So there's no nutrients we could possibly be deficient or low in. And the point here is that nutritarian means nutrient-rich, but the modern eating today is that half of what people eat is processed foods that do not contain antioxidants and phytochemicals. And then 30%, 35% of the diet in America and Europe is animal products which do not contain phytochemicals or antioxidants either. So what I'm saying is the amount of colorful vegetation that people eat is too small to prevent disease and to sustain a long life. So we have to get less macronutrients. We have to get less calories. And one of my theories that we've borne out and shown to be proven in the medical literature and published in medical literature is that as you increase the micronutrient content of a diet, and as you eat more greens and beans and mushrooms and onions and berries and seeds, as you eat more of these high nutrient plant foods, a person's appetite goes down. Yeah. They desire less calories. They lose their food cravings and food addictions. And what I'm saying right now is that a diet low in nutrients drives overeating behaviors. So you can't control yourself. You have to overeat calories, and you must become overweight if your micronutrient needs aren't being met. So the foundational philosophy of a nutritarian diet is getting more nutrient bang per caloric buck. And when you do so, you won't desire as much food, you'll age slower, and you'll maintain an ideal weight for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's so simple. You just think, why is the world not doing it? You know, I mean, I was interviewing a friend of mine who's in Japan, and he said, you know, as you know, they were one of the healthiest nations on the planet, and now they have 65% of their diet is processed packaged foods, and the obesity, all the metabolic syndrome diseases, cancers, and everything in Japan he teaches there is just gone through the roof. So, you know, just as you've explained macro and micronutrients, it's so simple, such an incredible, I love the whole concept. Nutritarian, it's so easy to understand. Cut back on the macros and increase the micros. It's amazing. You know, as a 6-time New York Times best-selling author and internationally recognised expert in nutrition and natural healing, you've also worked on several scientific journal publications. Can you touch on these?
Yes, and I'm also the president and research director of the Nutritional Research Foundation. So I'm working with major institutions on doing nutritional research. One recent study I published in the October 15th issue of the October 15th, 2015 issue of the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. The study followed a lot of people, but we showed with that of 443 people, the average person following a nutritarian diet dropped their systolic blood pressure 26 points systolic. Wow. That's more than any study ever done and more than medications can do. And even the people that had the medications discontinued showed their average blood pressure still dropped 26 points, and that was after the blood pressure were taken away. And the point is, lowered cholesterol about a third, LDL cholesterol dropped radically, more than drugs even. The overweight people, the obese people, had an average 1-year weight loss of 50 pounds, and that it was the only study to show that they kept it off in the subsequent years, 2 and year 3. They didn't gain the weight back and even lost more weight. The point is that this is the most effective program to drop weight, to keep it off for good. And temporary weight loss is no benefit. You have to learn the information so you stick eating this way forever. And then, of course, to lower your cholesterol, to reverse heart disease. The study went into cases and multiple data to show that even advanced cases of heart disease were reversed. People's blood pressure was lowered, people's cholesterol was lowered, but the heart disease, the obstructions in their heart causing chest pain, melt away. They were able to get rid of their cardiac problems without having angioplasty or bypass surgery. And my message here, and why my book, The End of Heart Disease, is so thick, why it's 430 pages, is because people need comprehensive informed consent. They need to know about this information. Yeah. They need to know why the drugs are not good, not the answer to what ails you. You can't rely on blood pressure medications to lower your blood pressure. When you use blood pressure medications and cholesterol-lowering drugs to control your symptoms, you only reduce your risk of heart attack between 10 and 20%, depending on what studies you look at. But when you use the right food, you can drop your risk between 95 and 99%. What I'm saying, we can literally wipe out heart disease. It's 100 times more effective at preventing it in our population. But the main issue here is that if people knew, like, for example, calcium channel blockers, the most common drugs, double the risk of breast cancer for people using them 10 years or more. Statins, double the risk of invasive breast cancer for women using them for 10 years or more. When we use drugs instead of food, we get a whole spectrum of unintended side effects: weight gain, diabetes, muscle fatigue, mental memory loss. We get a whole bunch of problems with statins and drugs. And if people knew the risks of those procedures and these drugs and how effective nutritional excellence is to reverse disease, I believe many more people would adopt this type of program. And if they knew how delicious it could be made, how much your taste changed and how great it tastes, I think it's called a no-brainer.
Yes, it is, absolutely. And I think you put it so easily to understand. And when you flood the body with the nutrients it needs, it doesn't only help you live longer, as you've just said, it stops all the food addictions and the crazy food cravings, because you normalise your appetite. We run a program with 6 days, and by day 2 or 3, or maybe even day 4, the clients usually hate me, they're probably, really grumpy. But I say, it's okay, it's just a little healing crisis, you'll be better tomorrow. And by day 5, 6, by the time they leave, they can't believe the difference. So what you've just said is, Dr. Fuhrman, the world is eating a diet that is so drastically nutritionally deficient with processed foods and containing chemicals, and they don't have enough beautiful vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. Can you touch on that just briefly, because many people might not know what are phytochemicals?
Sure. Well, phytochemicals are the substances in food that don't contain calories, but are not optional. People think vitamins and minerals, you take it in a vitamin pill, and they think that's what they need, and they can add thiamine and riboflavin to Cocoa Puffs or vitamin C to Kool-Aid or something, and they think they're getting nutrients. And then we find that every strawberry has 700 nutrients in it. Every piece of broccoli, 1,000 different nutrients. In other words, there's a huge amount of phytochemicals, many of which have not even been discovered yet, that are essential to arm the human immune system and to protect us against chronic disease. So we age slower. And our body's ability to fuel the repair mechanism that removes toxins and repairs broken DNA and keeps the cell, and actually can attack cells that are becoming abnormal and remove them before they can cause damage. All these super immune functions the body does to protect ourselves to live longer are activated by phytochemicals and colorful plant foods. Without them, we're just laying ourselves open to developing disease.
Yeah. Well, I tell the world about you. I love it that you tell the world, actually, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. You can't really say anything else about that, right? But the more...
I can say that. The more you eat green, the more you get lean.
Exactly. Fantastic, fantastic. Because when we eat all these foods, greens and beans and all these things, it does stop cancer and other, horrendous diseases in its tracks, because, you're not promoting the production of fat in the body and cancer cell proliferation. I'd like to go back to, we touched just briefly there on your recent book. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because it's a hugely important book that the world needs to get behind.
Yes, for sure. And when I say the end of heart disease, I'm saying that food is more effective at lowering blood pressure than medications are, and you can do it with safety without increasing your risk. And when you lower your blood pressure with eating tomato sauce and flax seeds and green vegetables, you lower your blood pressure, but you get protected against stroke and heart attack. When you lower the blood pressure with medication, you don't get much protection against stroke and heart attack. You just get a small degree of protection. What I'm saying is that I'm offering people a guarantee not to have a heart attack or a stroke. Isn't that the point? How many people out there don't want to have a heart attack or a stroke? What's that worth? $1 million?
Exactly.
But the point, or I should say euros or whatever.
Pounds.
Exactly. The point is that it's worth a lot to protect yourself, but you don't get that degree of protections by exposure to medical care and taking medication.
Sure.
To achieve the degree of protection we're talking about, you have to achieve a normal blood pressure without medication. You have to achieve a normal cholesterol without medication. And you have to achieve a normal body weight. And to do that, you have to do it with food. We have to do it with our knife and fork. It's not predominantly exercise either. It's predominantly the food we put in our mouth determines our longevity and our weight. I'm not saying you shouldn't exercise, but you don't even people who are eating unhealthily don't feel like exercising, and they're too unsickly to exercise. But the main thing is that when you eat right, heart disease is not predominantly genetic. It's not the inevitable consequence of aging. It doesn't happen in other species of animals that are fed properly, and it doesn't have to happen in humans. It's not natural for our species, and we can wipe it out, and it's the leading cause of death. In other words, heart attacks and strokes are now the leading cause of death worldwide in people over the age of 40. Why not stop these 17 million people from dying every year? This is unbelievable. We're killing people left and right with food. It's,
Just before I come on to call you to do this interview, I've just been at a funeral and the man died of a stroke, and just as you've said, it's unnatural. You should be happy, healthy, dead, and the way we do that is to just what you're doing, explaining, the structure of what the body needs for health. In the book, is it structured in any specific way? Is it formatted in terms of education? Does it have recipes in it, or what? How's the book structured?
Well, first I deal with people understanding that they can get well and how medications and medical procedures are relatively ineffective and potentially risky. And then I discuss the fact, I show them the principles of modern nutrition and how the proven studies showing that how they can extend life from heart disease, stroke, and cancer and dementia, and that the lifespan can be extended about 20 years of excellent health, enjoying your later years instead of being sickly when you're older, and of course dying 20 years prematurely. Is how food doesn't taste that great once you're in a coffin.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, then I go through the common myths about salt, about saturated fat, and all the things people are learning incorrectly in the media, and people promoting things based on bad information, showing an unbiased and scientific look at all the issues on both sides, and showing how clear it is, and that the world's nutritional research community is not all in disagreement. We basically all agree that the evidence is overwhelmingly promotes a diet rich in natural plants and the plants that are most protective. And I also show that this could be made very delicious and the most delicious way to eat, and give a lot of great recipes, menu plans, even an emergency diet for people having chest pain or undergoing serious problems with their heart, so they can drop about 30 pounds in the first 2 months very rapidly. And then I analyze all the diet styles that have been proven in the scientific literature to lower blood pressure and to reverse heart disease, going through their pros and cons, their difference from one another, to give people a very, very thorough understanding of what's been proven and what's not been proven out there, and that what are the factors in common of all the proven approaches, and what are some things you have to watch for? What are some possible weaknesses of certain approaches? And so I think I give people very comprehensive, informed consent. So before they make a decision to take a blood pressure medication or take a cholesterol-lowering drug, or before they make a decision to go for angioplasty or bypass surgery, or before they do anything, they know enough information to be able to ferret out the nonsense from the reality, from the good information, how to interpret what they're hearing, and how to determine what they're hearing is right, true, or just a bunch of bunk.
Sure. And I think the world should be, taking their hats off in gratitude to people like yourself, doctors like yourself, who swim against the tide every day, push the rock up the hill every day, go against the grain every day, because what you know is the truth and what you know is what's working. But now you have all the scientific backup that, you can't even argue with it. That takes me to, I want to talk about, because you have a fabulous service that you do on drfuhrman.com, and you've got a member centre there, and specifically in your Ask the Doctor forum, what sort of stuff is covered in that area? What do you do? Can you join as a member from anywhere in the world?
That's the most beautiful thing, that I can give actually specific advice to anybody in the world. And so every day I spend a few hours in there, and I have my medical team and staff doing it too. But the point is that we can help guide people. We can motivate them. We can educate them. We can have them connect and get the support and connectivity with other people to feel they're not doing this alone. And then get further information from me and my medical staff to give them advice for their own doctors in Australia or in Scotland where you are. In other words, we can give people some guidance of how so they don't feel they're left alone and they're not without any support. If people want to get well, if they want to get rid of their diabetes, get off their medication, become non-diabetic, if they want to get their blood pressure normal, if they want to save their life or reverse an autoimmune disease, or get rid of, improve their asthma, whatever they want, we will help them get better. And we want people to learn and become expertise in modern nutritional science, because the modern nutritional science gives them the motivation to stay with this and the enjoyment. And also you learn the recipes. You get 1,500 recipes, thousands of questions I've answered. And the members rate the recipes, say which one they like the best. And they contribute to put recipes in from all over the world. In other words, it's a fun place where people can get the motivation and information they need to make sure they get the results they want.
That's fantastic, because as you say, it's like being in a big club, right? It doesn't matter where you are, here I'm in Scotland and we're chatting, and you can be in Australia. Yesterday I was on to India, in Japan, we're the same. And when people feel supported and they have this network, it makes a huge difference. If you feel like a lone ranger, like I do over here, help, get over here, Dr. Fuhrman.
Now that's the thing, is like, isn't this all about, how should I say it? The human nature, we all deserve certain things in life. We all deserve, to have a happy life, right?
Yeah.
We all deserve to be healthy.
Yeah.
And people don't have the information to be happy, and they have to be happy and healthy all over the world. Imagine a world that can be happy and healthy all over the world. There's so much suffering in this world, and so much of this suffering is needless.
Yeah.
We do it on ourselves.
Absolutely.
And with good information, we can have so much more, less sickness and much more happiness and less human tragedies. And this is so important to get this message out.
That's right. And I know, like myself, you're the same. You go beyond the nutritional. You're looking at the whole aspect of the world now, the planet and the climate change and the animal cruelty, everything. It's all social justice. It's all under the one umbrella, and it starts with what you put at the end of your fork every day. I want to talk a little bit about your Eat to Live cookbook, because it's something that I share with some of my clients and students as well. Can we cover that? And I know you designed a lot of the recipes yourself, right?
I did, but what was really fun, because I've been doing this for 25 or 30 years. 25 years as a physician, but before I even was a physician, I've been still doing this, you know what I mean? But I've been devising recipes and tweaking them and making healthy recipes and making them taste delicious for decades, for many decades. But what was fun is that I'm actually having contributors of the members, and also Nutritarian restaurants that are opening up all over the world.
Wow.
And famous chefs. And there's Nutritarian Hotel in Italy.
That's right.
So we're bringing 30 people with us. But the point is, there's a Nutritarian restaurant in Aspen, Colorado, and the Nourish Cafe in Google Campus in California. And these famous chefs send me their recipes to utilize in the book. So it's fun to show people the best tasting food in the world that's good for your heart and protects cancer at the same time. It's because traditional food is it could taste okay, but it's ruining your health. What about, can you make foods taste just as good that are really good for our health? And the answer is, sure we can.
It's fantastic. I mean, really, and I know you have a wonderful acronym. Would you like to share that with the world? Because I adore it.
Yes, I want to teach people the foods that are most closely associated with wiping out cancer. Don't get breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer. Eat G-bombs.
G-bombs.
G-B-O-M-B-S. G-B-O-M-B-S. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Do you eat G-bombs almost every day?
Every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Because what if people all over the world ate G-bombs? What if we grew more G-bombs? What if we made them available to people all over the world?
It would be amazing.
We'd save so many lives. We'd stop the economic problems, because they'd stop so many people spending on medical. We have to spend so much needless medical costs for all these sick people we have. We'd change everything.
And that's why we have such incredible vitality, and we have the energy and the warrior spirit to continue to do what we do every day. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but trust me, I've been working on this for decades and decades as well.
I'm a doctor. I just play a doctor on TV.
I know. And over here, I mean, the UK is so sick. Europe is so sick, but the obesity here is just, I mean, it's just out of hand now, and I write to the government and all the nonsense they get about, I send them things, they're investing 30 million in dementia. You don't need to get dementia, change your diet, and, you do all this too. So I write to the world every single day, Dr. Fuhrman, and I'm so happy that you're here to share G-bombs, because all of these foods that you've just said, they inhibit fat storage in the body, they're foods that help prevent cancer, they prolong the lifespan. And you said earlier, the body is a self-healing organism. There's a friend of mine who says another great thing too, the issues in the tissues. It's true, right? Because that's where health is. We eat the food, we make the blood makes the cell makes the tissue makes the organ, and here we be every day with these G-bombs. And if you're eating meat, dairy, sugar, and all this stuff and processed foods, that's what you're creating every day. So we put stress, and the issue is in the tissue. We're weakening the blood, we're weakening the immune system. I mean, my own family members, my brother's prostate cancer, his PSA was 580. And 7 weeks of cooking, breakfast, lunch, dinner, I made him eat with me. It came down to 1.7, and then in 3 months it was 0.6, and the oncologist just laughed when he took my book, right? So I don't care because I saved his life, and he's now a G-bomb boy. So
that's great. Well, that's great that, that's the thing. I mean, what you're saying right now is that we take care of ourselves first. We put on the oxygen mask and then help others.
Yeah.
And when you become a shining example of excellent health, then you can reach out and have better effect on other people and better effect on humanity, because then you can share and help other people get healthy too.
Yeah.
And that's what we're on this mission, to get people healthy, and so they can articulate exactly what it is that what is the principles of a Nutritarian diet. We're talking about nutrient density, comprehensive nutrient adequacy, not being deficient in anything. And we're talking here about avoiding foods that promote hormones that can promote cancer, like insulin and IGF-1, eating low glycemic foods.
Yeah.
And we want to not have excess amount of animal protein that can raise hormones that promote cancer, like IGF-1. And lastly, we want to avoid carcinogens and toxins. We want to motivate and educate people so they become highly informed about nutritional excellence. Because they don't learn it in elementary school and high school and college and even in medical schools. And ongoing learning is what life is all about. We need to educate the world's population how important it is for proper nutrition. And we have to spread this message of good health throughout the modern world so we can help get people out of these medical tragedies.
And I mean, you say it in 2 words, or in 4 actually. You say smart nutrition, superior health, right? I mean, you can't even... What else can you say? Smart nutrition, superior health, G-bombs, and you're a gift to the world, the work that you do. And I know you've written, over and above all the other books, you've written Super Immunity, The End of Diabetes, The End of Dieting. I mean, incredible, unbelievable work. So where do you get the energy to do all that? Every day from your G-bombs, right?
Well, I've been eating healthfully for many years, but I enjoy my work.
Me too.
And I also enjoy sports.
Yeah.
I play tennis, I ski, I swim, I run, I bike. I like that I'm in my 60s and can be just as healthy as I was and just as fit and play singles and do sports and ski down moguls, the same thing I did in my 20s and my teens.
It's fantastic.
So it enables you to enjoy your life more, to get more out of life. It enables you so you're enjoying your later years. Most people go into the later years and they're on medications.
Sure.
They're not really able to do things for physical fitness and enjoy their family, and then their life revolves around being sick and going to doctors and taking drugs. What kind of life is that? People say, oh, I hear what you're saying, but I would just rather eat what I want and enjoy my life more. They think that eating their junk food is going to make them. It's a rationalization of the addictive mind.
Yeah.
People who start cocaine don't enjoy their life more. They're hooked on their cocaine. People who are hooked on cigarettes, on tobacco, aren't enjoying their life more. People who are hooked on sugar and all the junk food, the processed foods, aren't enjoying their life more. They're enjoying their life less. They just can't break the chains of their addictions to recognize that, because the addiction takes over part of their mind and it deteriorates their health, so they can't enjoy most and can't solve the problems in their life.
Yeah.
And processed and commercial baked goods are linked to depression. And they lose their enthusiasm about life, and they just rely on addictions to keep themselves going.
Yeah.
It's not enjoying your life more, it's enjoying your life less.
Absolutely agree.
And I've proven that in a study published in Nutrition Journal in 2012, so that people following this way of eating enjoyed eating the diet style, the food, more than their old diet once that 6-month period of learning and readjusting the taste buds took place.
Incredible. And the starting point, as we all know, the starting point of all achievement is a desire, and the bigger the desire, the bigger the fire. So I like to get people excited, as I know you do, about changing their life, and we make our workshops fun and informative and supportive, but the change has to start from the person wanting to do it. I'm not here to convince people. I don't do conflict. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I have a very Scottish, no-nonsense approach. And in fact, my first book a long time ago was called Marlene's No-Nonsense Guide to Healthy Living, because it's just nonsense if you don't do it right. Eating right can quite literally save your life. So I'm a bit like a long playing record to my family and friends, but they do love me at the end of the day, you know.
Terrific. Well, that's wonderful, that work you do.
So we're going to get you over here, Dr. Fuhrman. You're going to come here. You're going to change the way people look. We need to get a Nutritarian restaurant open. Can you imagine? Change the face of Scotland, the UK, Europe, Ireland, wherever. Because things are becoming sicker here and not better. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work you do. You're a joy to listen to. I encourage everybody to go to your website, which will be up on the link when we finish. And get behind your books, particularly the end of heart disease one. It's the #1 killer on the planet, and it so doesn't need to happen. So lots of love, and I look forward to getting together with you sometime soon.
Thank you. Me too. Best to you and all your listeners.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.